Hi, and welcome to this Excel 2013 video presented by the CIS Sandbox at Bentley University. My name is Elizabeth, and today we are going to talk about pivot tables. So you see here, I have a table already made with some data in it. In order to make a pivot table, you select any cell within the data that you want to capture, and then you go to Insert, Pivot Table, and then you click on that. And you can either put it into a new worksheet or an existing worksheet. I'm going to leave it in a new one, and then you'll see it has automatically selected the entire table of data. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And you see here on the left, this is where we're going to build our pivot table. Over here are my pivot table fields, which you'll see are ID, artist, title, etc. Those all correspond to the titles of my data from this table. So to go ahead and start, you can either check the box next to the label, and you'll see it has automatically placed it in this box down here called rows. Otherwise, you can unclick to unselect it, or you can drag and drop in either way. So I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop artists down here, and then I'm also going to take this value and I'm going to put it in this values column, and you'll see a second column pops up called sum of value. So now what I can do to change that is if I click this downward arrow here and I click on value field settings, this box pops up. To begin with, it's on sum right now. I can change it to count if I want. Click OK, and you'll see it has changed to a count of the number of paintings by each artist. So now to also show you, going back to the value field settings, you can change the name of the column. So I'm going to call it number of paintings, and I'm going to click OK. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another column from the value, and I'm going to leave it at sum of value, but what I'm going to do is go back to my value field settings for it. I'm going to leave it to sum of value, but I'm going to click on this number format button in the bottom left, and you'll see it's on general right now, but if I click accounting, I can control the number of decimal places and if there's a symbol in front of it. So I'm going to leave it at 2 decimal places with the $sign, and just click OK and click OK again, and you'll see it's formatted the number for me. Now you can also insert something called a slicer. So up at the top under Pivot Table Tools, if I click on the word Analyze, you'll see an option that says Insert Slicer. And under this tab you'll find a lot of buttons that you can play around with yourself. So if I go ahead and click on Insert Slicer, I can pick a field for which to insert the slicer. So I'm going to click on Artists, because I have artists as my row label, and click OK. So now this box pops up, and you'll see it has each of the artist names on it. So if I click one of them, it will only show that one person's name. If I hit the X here, then it clears my filter. So you can also change we're under slicer tools now. You can change the look of your slicer. You can change the height of the columns, or the number of columns, the height, and the width, and you can just play around with that. Clicking back on our pivot table, or pivot table tools will pop back up. And here you can also play with the design of it. You can enter a grand total. You can turn it on for columns only, and you'll see a grand total will pop up at the bottom. You can mess around with the report layout, show it in different types of forms. And if you wanted to change any of these values, you would have to go back to your original data and change the value there, and then come back over to your pivot table, and then there's a refresh button for data, and you'll see here it automatically updated it. and it changed. So that's it today for pivot tables, and if you have any more questions, feel free to stop by the CIS Sandbox to get them answered. Have a great day.